Hello, everyone. My name is Father Tom Lynch, and I'm going to spend some time with you today breaking open the Gospel of Mark in the 13th Sunday of Ordinary Time. So before we do that, I'd like to give you a frame of reference to help you to look with me into that Gospel in a much deeper way. So what's the frame? The frame is you must make a distinction between being cured and being healed. Cure is an external piece that takes place in your life. You get cured of the disease. The healing piece is an internal piece where you get healed within the wounds of your heart, or you get healed of anything that's inside of you that is causing you difficulty in relationships. So curing and healing, they're two different ways of looking at things. So what does curing and healing have to do with a sense of belonging? The whole sense that I'm somehow feel connected to others. One of the most important things that you see in the gospel, first is you see the synagogue leader who comes to Jesus and says, my daughter is dying, in the dying process. And then in that process of him going to try to see what's going on, a lady in the crowds are pushing in on Jesus, says to herself, if only I touch him, I will be cured. And so the piece is, she touches him, and all of a sudden she's cured of a hemorrhage that she's had for years, and she's wasted a lot of money trying to get it cured. So we see those two pieces. And so what we see today is the whole question, and this is the big question, suffering. What does suffering do to you that can affect your sense of belonging to a community, or just belonging to other people in your life, or connecting? Because belonging is rooted in a sense of connection. Now, you could have a sense of connection in a much healthier way in belonging, and therefore the community in which you belong to is more life-giving for you, and it helps you to love at the end of the day. That's why they call it a healthy sense of belonging. But the other piece is you may not have a connection of life-giving, but you may find yourself at a negative belonging where you connect into a group that it doesn't help you to grow, doesn't give you a sense of the other, but it's radically rooted in just your own self-interest, and the sense that it's all about me and I'm going to do what A, B, and C, D. So you find people who are sort of a common piece with you. So what does that practically mean to the sense of belonging? So here's what it looks like. If you don't know how to deal with your suffering, and you experience suffering, one of the things that suffering does is take away your relational energy of reaching outside to others. And besides taking away the relational energy, what it does very simply is it brings you into a self-absorption rooted profoundly in self-interest, with a sense of the void of others. So unless you really look at not only the being cured, but to look at the healing, because our Lord wants to transform your suffering so you're able to love out of that suffering and then to connect into healthy communities. We had in January 6th a group of people that were somehow belonging to one another, connecting to one another. But what you saw at the end of the day, it wasn't that it helped them mature. It wasn't that they helped them to have a greater sense of loving, a greater sense of God. It wasn't that. It was that they were saying, well, we're going to get what we want, and no matter what, and it ended in violence. So that was a healthy sense of belonging. Now, what does that mean? I would say, and maybe I'm being bold in saying it, that all those who were in that group were never healed of the wounds of the heart. They were never healed. So therefore, they were not able to connect into a life-giving community. So they basically hooked together with others who were basically engaged in this activity. And they were not able to see the other in a loving way. They only saw them in a way that's going to accomplish my end, which is to basically destroy something or to use violence to get something. So you can see the difference right there, that you have to watch out to have a sense. So one of the most important things you have to approach and learn in order to have a healthy sense of belonging is that you have to know how to heal the wounds of your heart so that it doesn't radically turn you in on yourself and you get self-absorbed, but it turns you out of yourself because you have a greater sense of empathy and compassion towards others. In many ways, January 6th, there was no compassion. There was no empathy. There was no profound love. It was just steroids, just self-interest on steroids. So again, I ask you to please, if you want healthy communities, so you can do what? So you can be attentive to somebody else, that you can really see somebody else, that you can also begin to look to the good they do and affirm them, not to encourage them to violence. Then thirdly, that besides being attentive and affirming, that you can also be appreciative because they are also caring for you and relating to you. And then along with that line, affection, and then accepting who they are with some of their struggles and some of their issues. And that you're open to help them move to a greater sense of their own inner healing so they can love in a freedom and a greater time. So the belonging is such an important piece because we are social beings. We want to connect. We want to belong. And it's a pulsation we have in us. But you have to watch out. If you don't do the inner work, you might end up hooking into a sense of belonging into a community that could lead you into serious trouble, like gangs, or you do something that is very hurtful to yourself and others. So please be very conscious of what you want to belong with and in. And if you had hard times in the past dealing with a sense of belonging, you didn't know where you fit, how you fit, then heal the wounds that are inside of you. God always heals those wounds, always wants to heal the wounds of your heart so you can love and live at the most profound, deepest level and care for others in ways you can't even imagine. Thank you very much for joining with us. And remember, cure, healing, belonging. They are tied together, but you got to look at them in a different way. Be peaceful.